We are on the air.
Hello, good morning, everybody. This is Getrude here in Wellington, New Zealand. It's an absolute honor to have Dan Hollings on this call. Dan, good morning. How are you?
Oh, good morning. I am doing really well, and
I know it's evening there. Sorry, it's
not
a
quite.
time difference.
Actually, it's the middle of the afternoon, and as you can tell, the sun's coming in the window here, so we're good.
Fantastic. Dan, thank you so much for coming on the call. I'm really excited just to have this opportunity to share you with all of my amazing authors around the world. As you know, we've been on a journey with over 100 authors in 36 countries, learning how to write a book in 40 hours. So I have these amazing people online, and I just want us to start the interview with you just sharing a little bit about your experience working with The Secret. What was done with that book and that movie was extremely unique. It was something that has never been done. And for us to be able to hear your insights in terms of how it was all put together and your role in that particular project, let's just start off with you sharing a little bit about that experience.
Okay, well, I try to keep that a secret, but since you asked, I'll share a little bit about it. In fact, I've got a couple of slides that I put together because as we talk, get to today, there's going to be some things that it's just going to be better if your audience and guests can see it. And I actually do have a couple of slides that are actually about my background. And so let me flip over to that, and I'm going to tell you a little bit because here's what happens. As I tell people about my background, something surprising comes out, and it really has to do with what we're going to talk about today. And the thing that's surprising has to do with the fact that I did some unique marketing strategies with The Secret, and that's one of the reasons that it was so successful. But another thing is that I've done a lot more than The Secret, and what's up on the screen right now is a little bit of my background. I'm not going to bore you with all of that, but yes, I did The Secret. I recently consulted on the new book that's coming out with J. Conrad Levinson, which is Guerrilla Marketing. He's been doing that for about 25, 30 years. And also was in another book called what was it? Internet Profits, and that kind of interviewed some of the top marketers that are around. But the main reason I tell people this is because a lot of people don't believe that the strategies that I share will actually work. And here's the big thing. When I did The Secret, and what people are looking at right now on the screen is this Alexa chart. And this chart shows, it's just a bunch of pointy things going up and down, but this chart shows the actual traffic or reach of The Secret based on Alexa. Alexa is this company that monitors traffic and things online. It's actually owned by Amazon. But that chart that you're looking at on the screen right now probably doesn't mean anything to you, but let me tell you what it does mean. At the time this occurred, the launch of The Secret, there was absolutely nothing driving more traffic on the internet than this. This was what Alexa calls a #1 mover and shaker. They keep a list of how much traffic and reach is going on with different sites and things. And I never thought that I could achieve this, but indeed it reached the #1 most active thing on line when that was launched. And the blue line was when we launched the launch page, or what you might call the landing page. And later on, I'm going to show you little tricks about how you can set that up for your book if you're an author. And then the red line was when we actually opened up and started selling things. And that's what it was. But here's what ABC News said about this campaign, and it'll kind of segue into what I know we're going to be talking about. They actually said that the marketing campaign behind The Secret is going to go down in history as the greatest case study of marketing ever done. They actually said viral marketing, and you can see I crossed it out on this slide. They didn't know that this was the greatest case study of zero-cost marketing, because when The Secret came to me, you know what they didn't have? They didn't have any money. they didn't have any money, and they had just hired, I guess, you know, the world's biggest cheapskate. I was very accustomed to marketing without spending money, so I put together a campaign where they didn't spend a dime, and yet at the end of the day, they brought in hundreds of millions of dollars. And so, you know, maybe the long answer to your question, but that's a little bit about, you know, my background and what I did with The Secret.
So you were really challenged to be very, very creative, working with a client that had no budget.
Correct.
Probably the best way to work, right?
That is correct.
And the challenge for most self-published authors, again, is limited resources in terms of finances. So let's go into this discussion and give us some insights that we could learn in terms of getting our content in our books and our videos out.
Okay, it's hard to know where to start because, you know, as an author, you know, there are some people out there that you just have an idea. There's others where you're right in the middle of writing the book, and then yet I'm sure there are many that have your book written, or maybe a couple of books, and now you're wondering, okay, what next? I think it was Seth Godin who once said, "When's the best time to market a book?" Someone asked him that, and he said, 3 years before you write it.
Thank you for writing that, because this is something I've been trying to get all the authors to get, that the easy part is writing the book. The challenge comes in the selling, and if you can learn to sell something before it's finished, it's going to be easy once the book comes out, right?
That is correct. But the reality is that the hardest thing to do is the marketing. But let me explain marketing to you in a way that I think will make it easier for you. Marketing really, it can consist of two parts. One is all of the things you can do, like on Facebook, and, you know, making posts there, and tweeting, and you know, maybe you know, SEO, which is optimizing the page, your landing page or your site that talks about you and your book. You know, those are kind of technical things, or just activities that you can do to help you in marketing. But the other part of marketing, which is the part that actually works the best, is it boils back into networking, connections, and who you know. And the great thing about internet, and the really great thing about social media, is that it allows you to extend your reach and get to know other people. And the only thing you have to know about social media is that you need to not sell, you need to not market, you need to not promote. In other words, your goal in social media is merely to connect, have people like you, to share stuff, to just be a contributing part of the community. It's certainly okay that they know you're an author. It's certainly okay that they know you have a book, and they know you've got a video up on YouTube and all of that. That's fine. But it's just that the less you try to sell, especially in social media, probably the better you're going to do. At the end of the day, here's what everyone needs to start thinking about. You need to start building a list. Almost everything that gets sold online, books included, are sold because somebody sends an email out, and the recipient reads it, and they click a link, they go to a page, and they buy. In other words, people are not going to stumble upon your book or whatever it is you're selling. They're not going to stumble upon it on Google or on Facebook, go to your page, and just all of a sudden buy the book. Not in the beginning anyway. Down the road that will happen. Let's take a look at The Secret. When The Secret first launched, they weren't on Oprah, they weren't on television, they weren't on magazines, they weren't anywhere. They had a website, but we sent out emails. We sent out emails to lots of people, and in fact, in the case of The Secret, there were a lot of pretty well-known people in the movie itself. The movie came out first, just so you know, and the book came out almost a year later. And we sent out emails to the list that all of the teachers that were in the movie already had. All right, and that's really what started the kind of the groundswell. And in fact, a good analogy is this. People talk about viral marketing all the time. And I think the best analogy is in starting a fire. If you're trying to start a fire and you just have a bunch of green, sticks and wood up there, and maybe it's been raining, it's not going to go anywhere, But if you start a fire and it's dry, kindling, then it's going to burn. And so I think what you're trying to do in getting something to go viral is you've got to build up a pile of dry wood, so to speak, or kindling, so that all you've got to do is just light the match. And then it'll just take off. So what's the comparison here? What I'm talking about is getting a list. And that means you have to have some type of a system in which people can come to your web page, they can put in their name and they can put in their email address, and then you start to build a relationship with them through email. Now, you can augment this with Facebook and Twitter and all of that, because we have multiple channels for reaching people, but at the end of the day, the list is still the most important thing. And a little bit later, I'll share with you some tools and things that you can do. And nothing that I'm going to share with you as far as tools and things it costs any money. They call me the czar of zero because I'm really quite good at doing marketing without spending a dime. So that's where you start.
So this is the challenge that a lot of people have, and I know I personally have that same challenge right now. I have a lot of people who follow me through Facebook, for example. I've got about 4,700 people. I normally only friend people that have either come to a presentation or a talk that I've done, or they've read my book, or they say they've heard about me from someone. So how do you sell without selling? How do you engage these people so that they can give you their email address in an informal setting? I think that would be the first question I would ask. For instance, today's Hangout, I put a link on my Facebook. This interview was free, so I thought this is a great way for people to engage, to come on board, but I still didn't get as much of a response as I thought I would. What would be your advice there?
Okay, actually you got quite a good response, and the next time you do this, it'll be more and more and more. Here's the point. You need to have your tools in place before you get out there and start doing things. For example, and we'll use your example. You invited people to come to a free webinar where they could, pick up some tips and ideas. Okay, that's great, high value, and all they needed to do is to share their email address. Okay.
Yes.
All right. And people listening to this presentation or our chat here today can do the same thing. You can have it so that people can put in their name and their email address, and you have to give them something of value. What would that be? It can be a white paper or some type of PDF or something that's related to the. Let's keep this on the topic of authors. Let's say that you wrote a book on a topic. You can pull out the most interesting thing about that topic and maybe create a 1 or 2 page PDF that you give away for free if a person shares their email address. The most important thing about a freebie that you give away, believe it or not, is what you call it. And people just love things like, the 3 top ways to do this, or 10 tips for this, and that kind of a thing. In fact, I hate to say this, people even prefer the negative version of things even more, like 3 things you should never do, or if you're an author, here's the 5 critical mistakes you're probably making. And if you put together little short PDFs that have these great titles, and then obviously you're going to put some content in there, but the title's the most important thing, then people will come to your page, they'll put in their email address in order to get that. Always think of that, even though they're not spending money, they're paying with their email. And you have to have the value high enough so it's worth it for that person to put their email address into the box. Then they do that, they're now on your list, and now it's up to you to start to build a relationship with them. In order to build a relationship with them, think of it as a first date. When you first date someone, and that spark goes off, you want to communicate with them a lot. And maybe as time goes along, maybe not so much, but in the beginning, it's like that first kiss is great, and then, boy, you want to a kiss the next day and the next day. So it's the same thing with email. when a person first gives you their email for whatever it is that you've offered, they're in love with you. They're probably not going to love you any more than they did right at that point, and so you need to start to really reach out and connect at the beginning. It's also the old first impressions, mean a lot. So that means that you need to email that person every single day for the first 5 to 7 days. That means you need to have what's called an autoresponder series. In other words, a number of emails that are ready to go out to this person who is interested in what you're doing, and have it set so that it will go out every day for about the first 5 or 6 days. Little short emails, like a paragraph or something, and just give them a little, more and more about you, more and more about what you're doing, and also always keep it on topic, always talking about the same thing that they originally opted in for in the first place. After the first 5 to 7 days, then you can start to space it out a little bit. Maybe once a week for a little while, maybe every 2 weeks, and then maybe down the road, once a month. Just so that there's always some interaction and communication, but you need to establish the relationship, a lot in the very beginning. So, for example, now we're doing a webinar right now.
Dan?
Yeah.
Dan, can I just hold you for a second?
Yes.
Reason why I want to hold you is I just have members of the group on Facebook saying that they can't get into the webinar.
Okay.
They say that the screen that they are seeing is saying video has not been set up yet.
Oh, you are correct. So hang on. Hang on.
Okay.
You know what? I forgot to do a very important. We're going to fix that.
Okay, cool.
And
I've got about 10 people on the Facebook group wall saying we can't get in.
Okay, well, there is good news. The good news is this is all being recorded, so you're going to be okay.
Cool.
Let me do something. I'm using a new system, and as is the case with new things, I'm oh wait, it's right here. Okay, now if you go to that page and refresh it, I'm going to test it myself. Oh my gosh, it's working. Okay.
So this is the one with the live link, correct?
Yeah, same link. You just need to, if you're on that page or if you click that link, you just need to reload or refresh the page, and then you'll be okay. And the good news is that, again, it's all being recorded, so you'll be able to watch it from the very beginning after we're done here.
Okay, excellent.
Okay, I'm actually going to
just
turn this.
make a note.
I'm going to turn this on. So, okay, yeah, we're good.
Line?
Okay, I'm sorry, I just missed what you said.
How many people are online and watching?
I can't tell right from here.
No. Okay, cool. All right, I've just let them know, so hopefully they will give me feedback that they're in.
They probably thought we didn't show up.
10 minutes!
Okay.
Let me see here. I've just asked them to confirm that they're in. Then we can continue. Yep, they've got in. Excellent. Well, welcome everybody. My sincere apologies for that small technical glitch. Dan and I had just started, so the interview is being recorded, so you can actually watch the first 15 minutes after this. So again, welcome. We have Dan Hollings with us today, and he's going to be sharing some amazing insights on how you can use social media as an author to get your book out and get your content out. So I love the Facebook group wall. Excellent that it's working and that I could actually see things happening. Now, I know that Margaret is saying that she's got sound and vision. Chris says your face is here, but maybe not sound. So, Chris, this might be something wrong on your side. Yeah, we still seem to be having some technical glitches. Miriam, you're in. Margaret is in. You're fine. Chris says that there's no sound. Computer sound is up. Hmm. I'm not sure what's happening there, Chris. Everybody
Make,
else seems to be okay.
make sure you're using Chrome as a browser. That if you're
Okay.
Yeah, it does work in other browsers, but Google owns Chrome, and so therefore they kind of make sure it works best in Chrome. So you might try that, or maybe just quit your browser and just kind of go back in again, start over from scratch.
Okay. I'll just let them know.
And for those that are wondering what the original glitch was, you're looking at it right here. We're using a new system, and I forgot to click a button.
Okay, good. So, I've got you. Sounds cutting in and out. That's
Okay.
somebody else.
All of that that has to do with your bandwidth and things of that nature. Just rest assured that everything that we've done and we'll do, until we're done here is all recorded. And when you watch it again on the replay, it'll be a lot smoother. And the replay will pop up within just a few minutes after we're done, right at the very same page where you're at right now.
Okay. All right. Off. Where were we? We were talking about how to get started using social media. And you talked about it being like a date. And the etiquette around social media is like dating someone, correct?
That's it.
If you could just pick up from where you were there.
Think of marketing as building relationships, and in fact, it's two things. One is building relationships, and the other is telling stories, of which Getrude is a master at. And if you can really get good at telling stories and building relationships, then just be you online. And think of your goal as not trying to sell something. Your goal is to try to get someone's email address on your list so that you have permission to communicate with them periodically through email. Everything else that you do is really just funneling back into you being able to build an email list. There's an old saying, the money's in the list, and that is the case. So, we were talking about things that you can do to get people to give you their email address. One is to put together a white paper or a PDF with an interesting title on the topic that is your expertise or your story. You put together a little something like that. It could be a video that you're giving away. It could be an ebook or just a variety of things. It could be just the newsletter itself, all the information that you're going to share with them week by week about the topic. That's really at the center of what good marketing is about: relationships and storytelling. And I would think everybody on this call would be good at both of those. And if you're not, Gertrude's going to be the lady to help you to improve in that area. But what I'm going to do as we go forward here is just share with you some of the tools and things to kind of build a foundation under your relationship building and your story telling.
Okay. So give us a step-by-step.
Okay. Step by step. Here, let me show you something here. Okay, here is a campaign. I want you to kind of see how much money you can burn through when you're doing a marketing campaign. And by the way, Gertrude, I figured out the problem so that if you want to talk, it's not going to pop me off screen. In fact, say something.
Okay, good.
See, isn't that good? So you can pop in and ask me some questions here.
Okay.
This slide here basically shows you what is a well-rounded campaign. And I'm going to show it to you because after you kind of get a feel for it, I'm going to show you something even better. But if you're going to do a campaign, you need to have a system that will allow you to collect email addresses. That's called an autoresponder or a list builder. And there's lots of them out there like Constant Contact and Aweber, and the list goes on and on. That would run you about $19 a month to have that. You're going to have a website or landing page. That's going to be where people go to find out about you or your book, but what it's really for in your mind is to have an opt-in box so that you have a way to collect their email address. That's your goal, not to sell, but to get their email address. If you use a site builder, going to run you about $7 a month. You probably need to have a blog set up. Now, WordPress is a zero-cost tool. I love it, but many times in order to get WordPress doing all the things you need it to do, after you add the plugins and the themes and all that kind of stuff, it can run you $18, $19 a month for those extras. Then you got to have hosting. Hosting is going to cost you $6 or $7 a month, and you have to have a shopping cart if you're going to sell something. And here's the biggest tip I can give you on a shopping cart. You've got to make sure that the shopping cart works on mobile devices. Over 50% of your traffic to your page is likely going to be on a smartphone or an iPad or something of that nature. And if your checkout process doesn't work well on mobile devices, you're going to be missing a lot of sales. So you've got to have something. BigCommerce is one that works really great, but guess what? It's $24.95 a month for that. Then you need to have a help desk, and you're probably thinking, well, wait, what do I need a help desk for? If you don't have a help desk, then you're inviting a type of free marketing that you do not want. People will come to your site, they'll click on a button, and it doesn't work. All right? And when something doesn't work, they will sometimes try to send you an email, but they probably don't have your email address. In other words, they get upset about it, and so what do? They go to social media and they say, hey, don't go over there and try to do anything. All the buttons are broke, or I tried to buy something and they bill me twice and all this other kind of stuff. You have to have a help desk because people have questions. Sometimes it's a technical question, sometimes it's a billing question, sometimes it's a question about your book or your product or what have you. So you need to have a help desk, and there's lots of them out there. Zendesk is going to run you $9 to have that. The other thing, just so you know, some people may be saying, gosh, I can just, email's fine. Here's the problem with email. If a person comes to your site and they want to ask you a question, they send you an email. What if the email they send you ends up in your spam folder?
You miss it.
You miss it, and you don't even know that you've got a person out there trying to reach out and communicate with you. Okay, let's say that you do get the email, and you sit there and you type out this beautiful answer, and you send it back to the person, and guess what? It ends up in their spam folder. They missed it. Neither one of you know what's going on, but both of you think each other's a jerk because nothing's happening. I'm writing, they're not writing back. I'm answering, and they're not writing back. And so help desks avoid that. And so that's why you need to have that. Mobile site builder, you got to put up a mobile site, or at least make sure that your site will work on mobile. That can cost you $5 or $6 a month. You might want to have a mobile app. A lot of people these days are now taking their books and turning them into Kindles or different types of things that work well. That can run you $25 a month. You want to set up Facebook, so you've got a fan page. Text messaging is a great way to get people involved in what you're doing. Doing webinars like what we're doing today, just getting on and talking to people about what you're doing, sharing ideas, and being helpful. It's a great way for you to build your audience. But guess what? That's going to cost you $99 a month if you use something like GoToWebinar, which is what 95% of the marketplace uses. Then your press releases are great, but you need to do them almost every month. And the PR Web's a great place, but they charge $89 a month. And then you got to pay PayPal fees or merchant fees. I mean, this is just like wrestling with an alligator. At the end of the day, a well-round campaign can cost you $534.52. And I know as you look at this, a lot of people are thinking, well, yeah, but I could leave this out and I could leave that out. The truth is you shouldn't be thinking of things to leave out. You should be thinking of other things that you could add in. But you reach this point where it's like, I don't think I could ever even sell enough books to bring in $534 a month. So, I mean, it's like you end up in this catch-22 situation. Well, let me show you my campaign budget. Mm-hmm. Like that? I don't spend
Very nice.
I don't spend anything on anything hardly. Now, don't get me wrong. There are a few things that it makes sense to spend money on, but I do want you to know that if you need to or you want to, you can spend zero on almost everything that's required in order to do your marketing. The only thing you might spend a little money on is some training so that you learn how to do certain things, but the cost can be brought down to zero. What I did, in fact, I'll pop back. What I did is trying to switch this thing over, just 1 minute. Here we go. Now, how come this isn't working? Just 1 minute. Okay, there's Getrude. And now, let's go back over here and see if I was trying to get my screen to come back on. Well, maybe it's
it is amazing how we all realize how expensive it is to get things done. And what you've basically managed to create is a system or a way that people can get themselves out there through social media without huge expense on a month-by-month basis.
That's correct. In fact, I was trying to figure out how to get my screen to come back on, but I can't, so let me show you this. Let me give you a couple examples. We talked about building a list, which is really important, all right? You go out and you start looking around at these systems. And again, they're called autoresponders or a list building system, and these are the systems that allow you to put a little opt-in box on your site. These are the systems that allow you to have a newsletter that you can send out to people. And when I say newsletter, it doesn't have to be some big formal thing. In fact, it's really best if it's just a paragraph or two. You send it out more frequently in the beginning and then periodically over time. You need to have that. That's probably the first thing you should get. But you could go to a place like Aweber. It's very popular. Lots of people use it. I've used it for years and years. But guess what? It's going to cost you $19 a month to just have 500 people in your list. And that's as cheap as it gets. Or you could go to a place called MailChimp. You probably have heard of them. MailChimp will allow you to have a list of up to 2,000 people at zero cost. So which would you prefer? I'm going to tell you that MailChimp wins hands down. Both systems are very comparable. They both do pretty much the same thing. You'd be a lot better off to go to MailChimp. However, there's one little thing that MailChimp won't let you do on the free version. It won't let you set up a sequential series. In other words, have an email ready to go, like every single day after a person first opts in. It won't let you do that. With your database of 2,000, it will let you send as many emails as you want as long as you go in there and manually do it. So
it can't be automated.
It can't be automated, okay? However, there are tools. There's one called Benchmark. I don't have the web address right here in front of me, but there's a free version of one called Benchmark, which will let you do everything, and it's free for life. I have a course. I'll mention this later, but I have a course where I teach the details of this. And in that course, I share a lot more information about that. But there's one in there called Benchmark, which will let you do everything, including automation, whatever. It's free for life, and it's like, hey, you may as well go for that one because that one's free, and that saves you $19 or $20 a month. And in fact, as your list gets bigger over time, that can end up being your biggest expense. If I were paying for my autoresponder, I would be paying a couple of $100s a month just in order to manage the size of my list right now. But I don't.
Wow.
I don't pay anything. So you need to start thinking about that. Here's the challenge. The challenge is that somebody in your life, probably your grandmother or your mother, probably told you that you can't get good things in life for free, or you can't have your cake and eat it too, or if it's free, there's got to be a catch.
Yes.
We've all heard that. Well, bless their hearts, they were right back when they said it. But then the internet came along, and a particular type of business model came along called the freemium model, and businesses found out that they could make billions of dollars giving away high-quality stuff for free. That's why Facebook is free. That's why Google is free. That's why you can listen to Pandora Radio all day long for free. That's a freemium model. These companies know that if they let 1 billion people use their tool or their system for free that a small percentage of them, maybe 1 million people, will actually upgrade, or through advertisement or something, they'll make money. So Google's making a fortune, Facebook's making a fortune, Pandora's making a fortune, and they're giving away great free stuff all day and all night. But here's what you probably don't realize. There are thousands of other companies out there that have tools that will handle every single need you have as a marketer. In fact, in my training course, Getrude, what I did is I divided up marketing into 25 categories. 25 different categories. I don't think I have those on a slide here. No, I don't. In 25 different categories, and basically I share with people tools for every one of those categories. If you're blogging, here's some free ways to do it. If you need to do social media, here's some free ways to do it. If you need to build a list, here's some free ways to do it. If you want to do a webinar, here's some free ways to do it. And basically, every single area of marketing or business that there is, I show you the freemium companies that are providing high-quality services without any catches. And you know, that's the way to go. And then occasionally, you'll find there are some tools that, hey, you spend a little money on, but if you're focusing on zero cost, you can get a long way down the road without spending anything at all.
Okay, so that's step number one. Step number one is make sure that you start building a list. Find a way to capture your audience. Find a way to give something away for free that is of value, correct?
Correct.
Okay, what is the next step?
Okay. Another area that is important is, I don't want to say this is the next step, just so happens it's on my next slide.
Okay.
But this is something that's important, and you're going to hear about this a lot as well. It's called SEO. In fact, Getrude and I, when we were talking the other day, you had mentioned that you know a fair amount about SEO, and I do as well. But guess what? SEO is really boring, and SEO is a long-term strategy. It's not a short-term strategy. SEO, what it means is search engine optimization. Search engine optimization. Now, that means that you go into your page and you make sure it's got certain keywords and keyword phrases that you know, kind of focus in on what you're about, or what your book's about, or your product's about, so that Google can rank you in the search engines. One part of SEO is what they call on-page optimization, things that you can do on the page in order to make sure that you show up in the search engines. The other part of SEO is off-page SEO, meaning if you have people who are out in social media talking about you and mentioning your name or your book name or the link to your site and things of that nature, that will contribute to how high Google pushes you up in the search results, or Bing or Yahoo or any of the others. Or if you've got sites out there, blogs or other sites that like what you're doing and they've linked to your site, that too can push you up. There's all of these things that you can do. Google's just trying to make sure that when a person does a search for any keyword or keyword phrase, that Google presents the best match for the search that their customer, that their searcher has just done. All right? Well, let me tell you, you can get off and down into that hole so deep that you forget you're an author. And I don't want anybody doing that, all right? So there's this place you can go called brandyourself.com. This is the most incredible free SEO site that you'll ever find. And they will basically do two things. What they will do is they will let you put in the link to 3 things that you have. And let me tell you, one of those things needs to be your profile page, a page that is about you. You need to have a really good profile page out there on the web someplace. It could be on Facebook, it could be on your blog, your site, whatever, but it's a page that's got a great picture of you, it's got your bio up, it's got a list of your books or things. In other words, it's just your profile, pimped out to the max. All right. You need to make sure that that's one of the ones that you put into this brandyourself.com. All right. The second one would be a link to your product or your book page. And you may have more than one product or book. You want to make sure that you let that be the second one. And then the third one might just be the front page of whatever your primary site is. Yeah, it could be
Right.
maybe it's your blog, or maybe you've got a website or whatever. So in other words, pick 3 of your top links: a profile, a product or book page, and your regular old site, and put them into the system and let them do their magic. What they do is they step you through all of the things step by step that you need to do in order to improve your SEO. It's almost like they're teaching you what to do as they help you get it done, and they will keep asking you if you want to do it with a 4th URL or a 5th URL or 6th URL. Well, they charge you if you go over 3, and I'm here to tell you, you don't need to do it with more than 3. 3 is enough. So 3 is free. Don't be tempted to do it with any more, and you'll get a ton of value out of that. So I've shown you where to go to get your email thing set up. Here's where you go to get your SEO set up. Okay, and
Excellent.
I know that your question was, what do you do next? This isn't necessarily the second thing that you do, but it is definitely on the list of the top 10 things that you do. So let's see here.
Okay. Awesome.
Okay, now let's talk about the next thing that you need to do. Now this is probably really number 2.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2 is you need to have a page someplace or that basically lets you put your ideas out there. And Getrude has done this, so as I share this story with you, there's probably going to be a big smile on her face. Okay, here's the way this works. When you wake up in the morning and you've got a great idea, maybe it's for your next book, or maybe it's a product, or maybe it's an event that you're going to do, whatever it is, you've got this great idea. Don't go and create the idea first and then turn around and try to promote it to the world. What you want to do is you want to share your idea very early on with people, and the reason is because you want to make sure that other people are buying into this, that other people think it's a good idea too, that other people would be interested enough to share it with their friends. You want to make sure that there are other people out there that agree with you that you got a good idea before you go and waste your time writing a book that nobody wants to read, or creating a product that nobody wants to buy, or doing a webinar that nobody wants to view. Okay? So the best way to do that is with this little tool called LaunchRock. And LaunchRock is available at launchrock.com. And when you go there, you're going to see a page that kind of looks like what you're seeing here on the screen. And here's what it is. Basically, LaunchRock, for free, will let you set up what many people might call a landing page, or they might call it a squeeze page. I call it a viral page. And you can set this page up using their system in about 15 or 20 minutes. And all you need in order to set the page up is the name of what you're doing, either the name of your book, or the name of your product, or the name of your event. You need to have like a little paragraph describing what it's about, and then you need a big picture to put in the background. That's what you're seeing on the screen right now. LaunchRock is the name of their product. There's a little paragraph that kind of tells you what it's about, and in the background they have a big audience there waving their hands. That's it. If a person comes to this page and they're interested, they'll put in their email address, and then LaunchRock turns it into a viral type campaign for you. Let me show you what I did. I'm just going to share the story of what I did with a training program that I created. You see, I had done this marketing campaign for The Secret, as I told you, and I didn't spend much money, in fact, no money at all for the first 6 months. And I was very successful with that. And I've done that time and again and time and again. And I decided one day, I woke up and I said, gosh, I bet there are other people out there that would like to know how to market for zero. And I said, maybe I'll put together a course, a training program, and people would sign up and be interested in taking it. So I didn't create the course. I went to LaunchRock and I set up a LaunchRock page. I created a title. I called it Zero Cost Marketing Secrets. I have a little paragraph there. It says, the cure for every marketer's worst habit, which is spending money. And basically, tells you a little bit about what it is, and then I got this big picture in the background, and you can see it. It's somebody smoking a dollar bill, I guess that's what it is, and kind of, things going up in smoke. And I put that out into the marketplace. I drove some traffic to it, and people started putting their email address in. And after about a couple of days, before I tell you what happened after a couple of days, I just wanted to show you, as soon as a person puts in their email address, the very next thing that it does is it goes viral. In other words, it gives your visitor that just gave you the email address, it gives them a share link. It gives them the ability to like it, to tweet it, to do all of these kind of things. But more so than just share it, it keeps track of what these people do so that you can find your evangelist. You can find the people that are buying into your idea so much that they're already sharing it with other people, and you haven't even written the book yet. You haven't even created the product yet.
So for instance, Dan, like right now, I'm running these How to Write a Book in 40-hour workshops, and I've already have my dates and my venues set up. This is an amazing way for that message to go viral through the people that I know, correct?
That is correct. That is correct. Now here, look what happens. All right. Here's the back end. This is kind of the administrative side of it. Inside the admin part of LaunchRock, you'll log in there. It will show you the people that have put their email address in. But in addition, it will show you this person has shared it with 5 other people, and this person has shared it with 20 people, and this person shared it with nobody. Guess what? You're able to see who are the people that are the networkers, the connectors, the evangelists that are buying into your idea, and you can reward those people. How do you reward them? You reward them by giving them a copy of your book before it's before it goes live, maybe a preview copy. Want to thank you for opting in, and in other words, some people give early access to their site or early access to a thing they've created. But if you're an author, you can give them early access to your book, or maybe some chapters from your book, or whatever. You treat those people as if though they're friends. And here's where it gets amazing. And by the way, the number up there, that 6,464, after 6 weeks, I had 6,464 leads in LaunchRock of people that were saying, hey, I think this zero-cost marketing secrets training program that you're talking about, Dan's a good idea. I had 6,464 leads. So what did I do? I gave them early access to my training program once I had it ready. I wouldn't have even gone and created the program if I had only had 50 people. So you have to decide what is the number of people where it starts to make sense for you, and it depends. Books can be different than other things, but for me, 6,464 people, that was plenty. Now I go and I create my product, right? I create my training program, or in your case, you write your book, or you get ready to do your event, whatever it is. Now I'm done. My training program's ready. Who do I go to? I go back into this and I send out an email and I say, hey, 6,464 people, guess what? My training program is ready now. And you know what? Many of them sign up, and most of them become my marketers for me. They get back out there and they start sharing and sharing because they were buying into the idea before I even created it. And plus, because I brought them in and gave them early access, they feel like they were kind of the beta testers, or maybe they were the proofreaders of the book. They feel like they were kind of part of it. And believe it or not, they can give you some invaluable feedback that you can improve your book or improve your product before you let it out to the world. All of this is totally zero cost. Just go over to launchrock.com and get it all set up. 20 minutes later, you're going to have a single page with a big picture on it, and it's going to have an opt-in box, and then it's going to automatically allow people to share things. You could put an idea up every week, because you know what? Think about this. We all have ideas all the time. Unfortunately, most of our ideas aren't that good, but you may hit upon one that's great, all right? So the thing that keeps most people from going online on the web and really pursuing this is that it typically costs money. If you had to spend $500 for every idea just to test it to see if it was going to work, very quickly you'd be broke. This way, you could put out an idea every week or every month or whatever, and just run with the winners. Run with the ones that seem to be picking up some interest. Now,
So you're really going to your potential buyers prior to even creating the product, creating the book. You could even drip feed chapters of your book to these people, correct? As you're writing the book. That could
that's
be another way of engaging people, right?
Oh, absolutely you can. Now, let me draw one distinction, though. Okay, one distinction is that this is not a autoresponder. This is not a list builder. And I know some people are thinking, "Whoa, boy, you lost me on that one." It does collect their names and their email addresses, and it does encourage people to share your idea, but there's no facility in the system to send out any series of emails or anything. In other words, this thing captures a lead. You will then have to export these leads and put them into your autoresponder, like your MailChimp or your Benchmark or whatever system that you're going to use. So this collects their name. It will send them one email as soon as they opt in. They get one. You get to write it. It'll send them one email, and you can say, "Hey, thank you for buying into my ideas." You can put links in that email that goes out, whatever you want. You write it, and it'll go out to them. But that's it. You can't build a relationship through the system. You can't communicate by email except for that one, and it's it. So this is a lead generator, so to speak. It will give you the leads. You will export them and put them into your autoresponder. Then you can do what you've just said, Gertrude. You can follow up with them. So you need to understand that.
Okay, awesome. Fantastic. So that's our second tool.
Yeah, now
what is
here's
the third one.
The third one. The third one, and it's probably the most important, is traffic. Because I'm sure a lot of people are saying, "Hey, I got it, Dan. I'm supposed to build a list. I'm supposed to set up a page. I can give away a freebie. I can do all that. That's fine. But when I get the page up, how do I get people to the page? Because if nobody comes to the page, nobody's going to put their email address in it, and that's where we get into traffic. Now, in the time we have, in our little chat here today, I can't, spell out everything, but I will tell you that there are many sources of traffic. In fact, on the screen right here, what you see is a funnel. And let me explain to you what a funnel is. I kind of call it the yellow brick road. You remember, what was it?
Wizard of Oz.
Wizard of Oz. I don't know why.
Yes.
The Wizard of Oz. Okay, it's like Dorothy starts along the yellow brick road and whatever, and basically that's what you're trying to create for your prospects and readers and audience, is a yellow brick road for them to follow. Now, on the internet, the yellow brick road will have many starting points, and it will all lead to Oz. It all leads to your opt-in box. That's where your opt-in box is Oz, all right? But it will start from many places. And I have right here on the screen, I know it's small and you can't really see it that well, but what you have here are all the ways that you can generate traffic. And that can be anything from referrals to viral. Viral, by the way, like with LaunchRock, some of your traffic will come from the fact that a person puts in their email address and then that person shares it with other people. That creates additional traffic. You can have traffic coming from Pinterest and Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn and YouTube, Google and Google Plus, and through doing SEO. And I mean, there's just this whole list of things. In my training program, I actually go through and show you how to generate traffic from some of these different sources. But here's what you have to do. You pick out channels or sites that are out there. You go in and kind of study them a little bit and figure out what they're all about, and figure out some way that you can participate in that particular site or channel and start getting people to pay attention to what you're doing. So obviously, if it's YouTube, if you want to play in that sandbox, you got to create a video. You can't you can't do anything over YouTube if you don't have a video. So you would create a video, and then that would drive traffic from there. If you go to Pinterest, at Pinterest, you need to come up with some really cool looking images that you can pin to your board. All right, and again, these should all relate to whatever your book is about, or whatever you are about, or whatever topic you're trying to generate interest on. I mean, I can imagine, and you may have this, I'm not sure, but if Getrude had a Pinterest board, it would probably look like a journey through Africa, okay, with colors and all the the beautiful things that are there, and people would be drawn to that. There is a very visual place, and it can drive traffic like crazy. There's a lady, I talk about this in my first training program, that was driving 6,000 hits a day from Pinterest, and you know what she was showing over there?
What?
Pictures of furniture. I'm sitting here going,
furniture.
Yeah, pictures of furniture. She sold blueprints of how to make your own furniture. Okay, this doesn't sound like exciting, but it got so popular. People, I don't know, people liked it so much that 6,000. In fact, then the news picked up on this. This was about a year ago. I talk about this in my first training program. The news got a hold of this, and she ended up on television and news programs and whatever, and it just snowballed, and all she was doing is selling blueprints for making homemade furniture. But the furniture, she would paint it really nice and pretty and everything. Okay, but that's Pinterest. There's a way to get traffic over there. You just have to go in there, look around, and start playing the game. You get traffic from there. You do the same thing with Twitter. Let me give you a tip about Twitter. Most people think Twitter, well, I don't know. I mean, you could live with it or live without it. Here's what you should do. You're an author, right? You've written a book. You want to go through your book and extract from it every single paragraph, pull out the most powerful sentence in every paragraph in your book. And that sentence needs to be 140 characters. All right? And you want to create what I call a tweet set. It's a set of tweets. Basically, it's the guts of your book. It's the essence of your story. But you're pulling it out paragraph by paragraph and putting it into these tweets. Now, you got this list of tweets, say 30 or 50 or 100 of them. I have done this for authors and pulled out 200, 300 tweets. And you put them into a system that will post them to your Twitter account on a schedule. All right? This is incredible, because the biggest challenge with Twitter is that people say, Dan, I get it, I could do Twitter and everything, but I don't have enough hours in the day to sit there and think up tweets and tweet at 3 o'clock and 8 o'clock and all of this stuff. You're right. Who has that kind of time? So just do it all in one sitting. Sit down, extract the essence of your book or the essence of your brain or the essence of your product or whatever it is, and put it into a tweet set, put it into a scheduler. There are many schedulers. I've got them in my course that you can do, or you can search Google and find schedulers that will let you tweet like once a day or once every other day or whatever. And you're not going to be repeating tweets. In fact, here's what I do. My expertise is marketing, right? So I have a set of 50 tweets about article marketing, 50 tweets about pay-per-click marketing, 50 tweets about Facebook marketing, 50 tweets about Twitter marketing, 50 tweets about Pinterest marketing, 50 tweets about every kind of marketing there is. And I schedule them so that they just go into my Twitter account. All right? Mm-hmm. Why do people follow me on Twitter? Think about it. Why do people follow anybody on Twitter? Because they want to pick your brain. So what you're doing is you're pre-picking it for them and creating a tweet set, and you're letting your scheduler push it out. That means that people will like what they're reading, because they're not just getting stuff you're thinking up off the top of your head, which is, hey, how you doing? And that kind of stuff. It's real, it's valuable stuff. It's the essence of who you are or what your book is about, but yet it frees you. You can create the tweet set, and then let's say you have 50 tweets. You could do one tweet every week. You won't have a single repeat for a whole year, because it's about 50 or so weeks in a year, and every single year you'll have that. Just amazing what you can do if you.
So, for instance, let's give a practical example. Let's take my book, How to Write a Book in 40 Hours. Mm-hmm. I could pull out 30 tips on how to write a book in 40 hours. So literally every chapter that I have could be potentially put into a 140-word tweet, correct? And then you automate it. This is pretty fascinating. Dan, I hope you're still there.
Oh, I'm here. I keep
Something
trying to get.
happened there.
I keep
You're trying to
trying to
get
get.
back.
Isn't technology wonderful?
That's
Okay. Yeah.
great.
So like this is pretty good though because you're a lot better to look at than I am. So for some reason Google won't let my face show up again. So, but
Oh,
anyway,
boy.
your question. Ask the question again. I'm sorry.
Okay, so what I was saying is, for instance, with my book, How to Write a Book in 40 Hours, I could find 50 tips or 52 messages that are embedded in my book that can be abbreviated to 140 words and just generate 52 weeks of tips that can go out to people, correct?
That is correct.
We have
That is
another author in the group who is writing a book about autism and how parents can deal with, having a child who's autistic. So she's got a very narrow niche market. Again, she could do the same thing with her book. Pull out the 52 main tips, ideas that she could give to somebody else to help them, correct?
that is correct. That is correct. And so just start thinking, instead of thinking individual tweets, start thinking tweet sets and create sets. I think a set should have 30 to maybe 100 tweets. And every time you create a set, go and put it into a scheduler, and then you can decide what kind of schedule you want. It could be once a day, it could be once a week, whatever you want. But it just pushes it out, and then you can have multiple sets running at the same time. And so that means that you can begin to fill up your Twitter timeline with good, valuable content that your followers will enjoy without having repeats, because these tweet sets, have lots of different tweets in them. You would have to watch
Yes.
yeah. Now, if you're doing something like, let's say you're launching your book 30 days from now, then you could put a more intensive tweet set together and run it where there's 2 or 3 tweets going out every single day for 30 days up until your launch. You just have to be careful on Twitter that you don't, overdo it either. You don't want to have a tweet every hour or repeat tweets coming, time and again. Just make sure you kind of think it through. And so in other words, it's just create the tweet set and then come up with a schedule that makes sense for your followers and makes sense for what you're trying to do. And remember, you can put links in tweets. So as you're creating your tweets, say out of your book, you're going to want to occasionally put a link into the tweet as well, but don't put it in every single tweet. There's nothing
Okay.
worse than every time you tweet, it's always a link to buy your book or always a link to sign up for this or that. The best percentage is maybe somewhere between 25 to 30% of your tweets could have links, and then the rest of them should not have links. Because if you do links all the time, people will stop following you. They think you're marketing too much.
You're just trying to market. What about hashtags and how to get the whole trending side of things going on Twitter?
You may be surprised with my answer here. I'm not as big of an advocate of hashtags because I
Why
don't.
is that?
Well, I don't think that most people can get enough trending going for it to ever have any effect. And so all the hashtag ends up doing is just taking up space in your
Okay.
tweet when you could be, sharing content and or a link. The primary time that I think that a hashtag is beneficial is when there's an event and you're wanting to put the hashtag there so that other people that are collectively trying to enjoy that event, whether it's a webinar or a live event or whatever it is, collectively everybody can know that they're all tweeting about that same thing. But in the case of me or you or an author who's tweeting about your book, you're probably the only person that's going to be sharing that hashtag, and you're never going to be able to get enough synergy or not enough viral going in order for it to have any effect. So it's kind of a waste.
Okay. Okay, cool.
Good for events, not so good for just a product or a book.
All right. Excellent.
So
Wow.
what?
Okay, so where are we now? Well, this is just awesome.
Well, let me do this. I am not here to try to sell people anything, but I do sell stuff. And if there's anybody that's listening that's interested in not spending money then I have a course that will make you the cheapskate of the year, just like me, because you'll be able to do all this stuff without spending money. Let me just quickly share that with everyone, and then we can get back and kind of wrap up. Maybe there's questions that are coming in.
Yes.
I can look and
So
but
everybody who's online, if you have any questions, start putting your questions into the chat window, and we will address those after Dan wraps up.
yeah, we will do that. In fact, what I need to do here is pull up my little Q&A area. There is a little box. I'm opening it up now. That's right underneath your video that you're looking at, and you can type a question in there. If you happen to be at Google and doing the Hangout there, there's a little chat box there as well. But let me show you this real quick, and I'll be quick and brief on it. But what I did is I put together a training program. There's 4 sessions. It's about 12 or 13 hours that teaches you how to do everything at zero cost. And I go into the 25 categories that we talked about and show you how to do it. Here's the thing about this. If I just said, hey, here's a great tool, go get it, that wouldn't help very much. What's important is that you need to not only have the tool, but you also need to have the strategy and the setup so that you know how to set it up and weave the tool into a strategy so that it makes sense. And so that's really what the training is about. It's like, I'll show you some of the best zero-cost tools that there are. I'll show you strategies that you can use with these tools, and I'll show you how to set them up. All right. Now, there are over 100 tools that I reveal in this course, but only about 50 of them do I actually go into the strategy and the details of setup and things of that nature. We talk about traffic. We talk about all of the important early things that you need to do in a marketing campaign. And in fact, you get lifetime access to this. So this is the first place you should come anytime you're doing any kind of marketing, because why spend money when you don't have to? It's like, this is the one thing that if you become a member of this and go through the course, you can really avoid wasting a lot of money on other things down the road. So I've got that. So I've got a membership area. You go in there, and there's a lot of stuff there. And then I have like here are the sessions right here. There's 4 sessions. And by the way, if you're interested, the web address is up on the screen now. It's ez.com. That's the letter E, the letter Z.com/get0. And that'll take you over to the page, and you can sign up for it. I normally sell this for $534 because that's what the typical campaign costs on a month-by-month basis, as I shared with you earlier. I normally say, hey, look, $534, you buy this thing one time, and then you'll never spend any money for the rest of your life, okay? This is like spouse approved. You go out and you say, hey, honey, this guy's telling me I don't have to spend money on anything, and they'll say, well, gosh, you should have met him $10,000 ago. So, so anyway, I mean, there's that, part of it. The categories, I also had that broke down. You can't see it all here on the screen, but I've got affiliate tools and blogging and business tools. I have probably about, I'd say 30% of the people that go through this course are authors. So there's a lot of stuff in here for authors. I even have a bonus session that I did about how to publish a Kindle. I've published many Kindles myself, and I know that you encourage people to do that as well. But what I do is I show a couple of little tricks that are really important if you're going to be doing a Kindle. In fact, it's a whole extra 1 hour, or maybe it's an hour and a half webinar where I go through and show you a whole bunch of things about publishing on Kindle. So I've got that as well. And that's it. I always tell people, look, you got 2 choices. You either do nothing or do zero. It's up to you. But anyway, that's available at ez.com. But anyway, it's not $534. Let's see, what is it? It's like $297 or something like that. It's the lowest price I've ever had on it. I have had, and I kid you not, Getrude, I have had over 8,000 people go through this program. Over 8,000. And I did a little bit of a calculation the other day. Figured that I have helped people save over $1 million in money that they would have spent on tools and other stuff, just because now they know the alternative. So enough of that. If you're interested, it's at ez.com/get0, and let's do some questions.
Fantastic. Okay, so we will open up the floor to questions. Now, Dan, I can't see the questions, but you can, correct?
Yeah, I can see them if they come in. Let me see here what
Let's
we've
have a
got.
look.
Okay. Oh, here they are. All kinds of questions. Okay. Okay, someone wants to know, what is Pandora? Pandora is a free streaming radio station that I listen to all the time. By the way, folks, Gertrude and I were talking before we came on. My degree and background is in music, classical guitar, and I love world music, and we were talking about African music and all that before because I have a large collection of that. But Pandora is it's a like having your own personal radio that pulls in music based on your taste. In other words, you put in one artist or one song that you like, and then they start streaming that you would probably like based on the first one. So it's great. It's free. Get it. It works on like your smartphone and stuff like that, or you can go to pandora.com. What about hashtags on Facebook? We talked a little bit about that. I'm not a big hashtag person except for events. What is the tweet scheduler? There are many that are out there. There's one. Let me double check here. Let me see if I got the. I'll give you the. 1 second here. Make sure that the link that I have is correct.
And while you're doing that, Dan, I'll just let everybody know that I am going to transcribe today's interview and give you all access to these amazing points that Dan has shared with us. Just give me about 48 hours and I'll get it transcribed, and you can get access to today's interview as well in text form.
Oh, that's very nice.
This has been absolutely wonderful.
Okay, here's the tweet scheduler. If you go to the letter E, the letter Z.com /scheduler, SCHEDULER. Okay, ez.com /scheduler. That will take you over to Social Oomph. Now, Social Oomph is the one I use. Heads up, this used to be free, and about 6 months ago they started charging for it. All right. So this is a scenario where I started using this one, fell in love with it. I've got all of my stuff set up in there, and then they later changed their model and started charging for it. And for me, it was worth it. But when you go in there, there is a charge for this. If you're doing a lot of tweeting, it's going to be worth it. However, I don't know them off the top of my head, but in my training program, I've got a list of some that are zero cost as well. There are some out there. Gosh, I'm trying to remember the name. If I can remember the name of there's another one that I'll share it before we get off here. But there are some that are out there that are zero cost. So that's that one. Okay, I love the tweet set idea. Would that work for a fiction book? Absolutely. You know, here's why it works. You don't know which line it is in your book that's going to turn someone on. You don't know. So why not tweet every important line you got? And that way you're bound to hit. All right, you just got to do it. I tell real estate agents, this just to go off track a little bit. I tell real estate agents, when you list a house, you should tweet every feature in the house. You know, you should walk through that house, and it's got, you know, wall-to-wall carpeting and great view out back. It's got a swimming pool. It's got a gold-plated toilet seat. It's got all this stuff, okay? and you just do all these tweets and tweet it, because you never know which tweet or which sentence is going to get someone excited. So same thing with your book. Just tweet it all, and it doesn't matter whether it's fiction or not. Okay, and also these tweets don't occur in order. So you need to make sure that each tweet is makes sense on its own. Each sentence, they're just random all over there. There would be no sense in trying to get anything in order. It'll just tweet them out there. Okay, the next one. I'm on Aweber, but I'm trying to transfer to MailChimp. How do I do this? Okay. You just go into Aweber and export your names. You'll get it like in a database, a a CVS or CSV file, and you just take that and then import it into MailChimp. And if you're not sure, here's a secret most people don't know. If you don't know how to do something, go to Google and type in the question, and they'll answer it. It's amazing.
So Dan, on that point, I know in our conversation you mentioned that part of your system is to have a mail system.
Yes.
Is that part of the package that you are promoting, or is that something separate?
Well,
how can you help us there?
Okay, let me help. You want to go to, I'm going to make sure I've got the right link here.
So guys, a lot of what Dan has talked about in terms of solutions, he already has all of these solutions. And this is why I was really excited to be able to share him with you guys this morning, because a lot of these tools are already available to us.
Oh, yeah. As you go through my training program, if you decide to do that, you'll see that it's not me promoting any of my tools or my stuff. I'm going out there basically and vetting, kicking the tires of all of these freemium tools that are out there and giving you the cream of the crop, because there's a lot of bad stuff out there as well. You know, tools that you sign up for and all they do is spam you all the time, or you sign up for it and they put ads on your site, or you sign up for it and lo and behold they're selling your information. I mean, that's junk. But what I do is I go out and find the high quality stuff, and the stuff I share with you is the stuff that I use. There's nothing in my whole training program that I don't actually use. So it's kind of like you're getting me to be your bird dog. I'm going out there and finding the good stuff and bringing it back so that you don't have to waste your time with that. What you want to focus on is doing your stories, writing your books, being creative. That's what you want to spend your time on. Let me find this tool for your email. Yeah, here we go. All right, now I don't short, well, maybe I do. I'll have a little short link here for this one, but if you go to benchmark.com, oh, I see, wait just a second. Here's the email address. Benchmark.com, wait, scratch that again. Okay, benchmarkemail.com, /free edition.
And are you still there?
Hear me? Can you hear me? Hold on.
You can't.
Okay.
Yeah, you faded there for a second.
Okay. So the web address for that was.
You're good now. You're good now.
Okay. Benchmark email /free edition. Now, when you go to Benchmark, they're trying to sell you their system. They have one of the best free email systems that are out there. Now, let me tell you what the catch is. Here's the catch. They will not let you import a list from some other system. So we had the question earlier, somebody had been using Aweber, they got a list over there. Benchmark won't let you do that because they're wanting to make sure that every email on their list is indeed truly opted in so that it meets all of the canned spam laws. And unfortunately, some people try to import lists they bought and stuff like that. So they won't let you import a list, but they'll give you an opt-in box. You can put it on your site, and as you build your list at Benchmark, you'll be good to go. So it's not good for importing, but it is good for building your list. Here's the other catch. As soon as you opt in, someone will call you on the phone to try to help you out with their system. And they're very friendly and they're very nice. And they do hope that you'll upgrade and pay for their better system. You just have to say, no thank you, that's all. So that's the only catch. Other than that, it is the absolute, cream of the crop email system, totally free. In fact, it's called Free for Life. That's long enough for me.
Awesome.
Okay. All right. Another question.
Can I give you a question that was posted on the Facebook group wall?
Please do.
Okay. So I've got Margaret. She is in Australia, and her question is basically around getting an endorsement from, let's say, a famous celebrity, maybe getting a celebrity forward for your book. So Margaret is basically saying, I'm just scroll down to her question, that value to your book, and how can you use that?
Okay, so you're talking about an endorsement or testimonial or that sort, correct?
Yes, she says here, is it worth trying to get a celebrity to write a foreword for our book? Does that help with marketing?
Yes, I put celebrity endorsement kind of in with testimonial as just a third party endorsing you. Uh, and certainly celebrity may have a little more weight than others, but it's what you do with the endorsement that matters. And so, for example, you should have, get ready, a tweet set that is nothing but testimonials. In other words, 30 or
Oh,
50 or 100 tweets that you put together and just have the testimonials go out on a regular basis. And you can create that from the testimonials you get. And here's the good news. Usually when people write you a testimonial, it'll be, like a paragraph. You can sometimes create 3 tweets from a person's testimonial. And so you just take one line from what they said and put their name after it, and then the second line from what they said and put their name after it. You end up with three testimonials on Twitter. And by the way, I know I'm talking tweet sets. This can also be scheduled to push out to Facebook and many other social media areas as well. Social Oomph does provide that service. So, yes, it's good if you can get a celebrity to endorse it. It's even better if you can get the celebrity to then tweet it themselves or post it on
mm-hmm.
Facebook if they'll do that. But it all has to do with what you do. So you want to take that testimonial, turn it into tweet sets. You want to take the testimonial, put it on your blog. You want to, create an image of it and put it on Pinterest. You want to make a post of it and put it over here. It's just like, it's like peanut butter. You spread it all over the place.
I love it. Absolutely love it. And that's probably when you can use the hashtag. Let's say, for instance, if you had Denzel Washington say something about you, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. That
Hmm.
would be absolutely correct. So let me see here. I'm going
Fantastic.
back to questions. If you have any questions now, make sure you put them in. Okay. If we want to send press releases out to different media outlets, what's the best starting point to gather contacts for each outlet? Okay. Again, this is something in my training program. I must have about 60, maybe 80 different PR places that you can connect with that will be zero cost. I also happen to know a number of people in that space. And I had one of the PR firms actually share 20, I think it's 29 articles that are really good for authors. And in fact, this particular PR company works mostly with authors. And they've shared 29 articles in my training program that are just invaluable to handle that PR part of your marketing. It's like there's marketing and there's PR. PR has more to do, in my mind, with interviews and getting on radio and getting in magazines and newspapers and television, and that's kind of the PR world. Whereas marketing is online and mobile and social media and all of that. And I know they overlap, but I do cover that quite extensively in my stuff. Now, PR Web, which is at prweb.com, is awesome, but they're not free. But you can check them out if you want to get exposure. Let me see. Okay, what's
Okay, so
the
just to go back to the interviews, and this, Dan, before you move on, just to
okay?
go back to interviews and how people can maximize on, let's say, for instance, having a radio or a TV interview, and to be able to convert that into potential sales. What would be the best approach for an author who's being interviewed on radio? Just give us a few
Great.
tips there, because I know a lot of people get interviewed, but they're not quite sure, where to put in the sales pitch.
Oh, well, let me tell you, that's a great question. And it's one that The Secret did not handle all that well. So let me talk about that topic for just a moment. Okay, first of all, if you hear somebody crying, I've got a little dog here, and every time it thunders, he turns into a baby, and
Oh,
he thinks
sweet.
he thinks it's gonna come grab him or something. Okay, uh, here's what you do. Here's what you do. If you have an opportunity to be on radio or a lot of media, they are okay with you sharing a URL as long as you don't surprise it on them. In other words, before you go for that interview, or maybe you may, and again, this could be you're given the opportunity to do a guest post on some big blog or something, but whatever it is that you've got the opportunity for exposure, you can generally share a URL, a link, but you need to kind of clear it to make sure that it's okay. And here's the thing. If you share a URL, it needs to be one that is easily communicated, cannot be misspelled, and is short. You've probably noticed that the links that I've been sharing, in fact, there's one on the screen right now. Okay, the one on the screen right now is ez.com/get0. That link is specifically designed so that people can't mess it up. All right, and so you can go to places that are URL shorteners. You can take the big long link to wherever you would like people to go, whether it's your LaunchRock page or maybe it's your blog or whatever it is, and you just take that and put it into a URL shortener, make it shorter, and then make sure it's something that people cannot misspell. All right. So every time I say ez.com/get0, I say the letter E, the letter Z.com/get0. I don't say easy.com because people would put EA, SY. Okay, and so and on the radio or television, they're having to hear the word. So make sure that that part is taken care of. Now, on television, they're more sensitive about URLs. You just don't want to be blurting. So if you ever get the opportunity to be on television, you've got to be a lot more subtle about it. Here's the trick that works best. Always have in your hip pocket, no matter what media or exposure you get, something that you're sharing with people that doesn't cost anything. I just wrote a book, and I know people don't know me, so what I did is I took out the 3 best chapters of my book and I put them, into a little ebook or a little PDF. And if you guys would like to get that, you can go here and get it for free. Always have something that it's not like a gimmick. It's nothing. It's like, or maybe if your book was on a topic, you could just say, so many people are having trouble with this, and I've put together a little survey that I'd like for you to take. In other words, try to have some interactive thing where they have to go to a web address in order to, do that next step, and have that already ready before you do your interview, or whether it's radio, TV, or magazine, or whatever. Already had that. Now, here's the other thing. If you can't share a URL, make sure that the title of your book, and it may be too late for some of you, but make sure that the title of your book is searchable. And that's why naming your book is perhaps the most important part of writing a book. I would say there's 2 things that are really important about writing a book. And I know in some ways this is a bit of an insult, but in the beginning, the actual story itself, in other words, what's in the book, isn't quite as important, because people have to first buy it before they're ever going to read it. So the most important thing is the title, and maybe right after that is the cover. And I know that Getrude talks about this, in her stuff, and my spin may be, similar or a little different. I'm not sure, but you've got to really think about that title. And today, titles have to have dual purpose. The first purpose is it has to convey what your book is about in a compelling way where a person would be intrigued and interested, but it also has to have some type of a keyword in it so that if they're searching around online for a book on a particular topic, that they will find your book. And if your book doesn't have any words in it that are appropriate to what you're talking about, then it's not going to pull up on a Google search. So you need to think long and hard about that. Now, you can sometimes get beyond the title of your book if your book has a subtitle. And it's like you kind of do the title that you really like as the title, and then have a bit of a subtitle that is more clarifying or has keywords in it.
So the subtitle will describe what the book is about, correct?
That's correct. The subtitle would describe that, and that's important for keyword searching. So here you are, to answer the question. Here you are, you're on television, you're on radio, and someone is, interviewing you. You need to be able to say the title of your book and that tagline or subtitle many times, because you're probably not going to be able to share a URL. If you do share a URL, people won't remember it or won't write it down. Ultimately, if they're interested, the way they end up finding your book is they go to Google, they type in whatever they remember you said, and it's so your whole presentation on whatever media you're on really has to do with you planting the seeds of your title, so that when they go and search, they're going to find it. Which opens up one more thing. You want to make sure you pick a title that someone else doesn't already dominate the search results. So as soon as you think you've got that winning title, go to Google, type in your winning title, and see what pulls up. If nothing of much pulls up, then bingo, you've hit a home run, because you're going to be able to get that title, and you'll probably very quickly be able to dominate that page. If you do a search right now for zero-cost marketing, you're going to find out I dominate that page. I mean, there's nothing there but me. That's because there's hardly anybody else talking about zero-cost marketing. There are people talking about no-cost marketing or cheap marketing or free marketing, but not zero-cost marketing. So you kind of think about, what will happen when a person does a search. And so you should do that search before you put it on the front of your book. Listen, you'll laugh at this. My little dog is driving me crazy. You be good now. All right. Here's what was so funny about The Secret. When The Secret came to me, I said, "What's the name of your movie?" And they said The Secret, and I'm going, "Oh gosh, that's going to be a hard one to market, because everybody's got a secret, and if you go online and do a search for secret or The Secret or secrets, I mean, you're going to find just billions of things. So trying to get your movie up at the top of the search results for secrets is going to be tough." And they go, "Well, it's too late now. We've already, we're too far down the road." And I'm going, "Well, okay." And so you know what we were competing against? We were competing against Victoria's Secret and Secret deodorant. That's who we were competing against, and they dominated. I mean, they dominated the page. It was almost impossible to get up on the first. So it took us almost a year before we got on the first page of a keyword for that, The Secret. So that was a bad title. They overcame it, but that was a bad title, and so you need to think about that.
So Dan, does part of your service also help people come up with titles, because I know there's some people who are just good at just thinking about a title and coming up with it right there and then. Is that something you can help authors with?
Absolutely.
I have a few authors who I think could need help in improving their titles.
Absolutely. I have a chapter. I shouldn't say chapter, in my training program. I can't remember, it's the third or fourth session. It's a session on naming things. And I talk kind of about what I've shared with you today, but I talk more about that so that you can think through the process. For example, a lot of people have heard of the book, what was the name of it? The 4-Hour Work Week.
Yes.
Okay. And the way that title was originated was he came up with like about 10 or 20, 30 titles, and he basically did a poll on social media and let people vote. And so the title was picked. I spoke to him, and he told me, he said, he said, "I never would have picked that as the name of my book." He said, "But that's what won the poll." So that's another good idea for naming your book is to let people do that. Which, if you think about it, you could go and do a Launch Rock page, put up a title, let people, or maybe don't even put up a title, just say, "I'm thinking of writing a book about this topic," and then as people opt in because they're interested in that topic, then you could say, "Hey, one thing I'm trying to do is figure out a good title," and let lots of people help you kind of crowdsource the title of your book, because that will tell you up front whether it's going to work or not.
Fantastic. Awesome, awesome, awesome. And the other thing, I guess, is also, when people are starting to think about writing articles and blog posts, just having that headline that is really catchy. Again, people need help in how to craft a catchy headline or a catchy article title, correct?
Oh, absolutely. It's the most
Okay.
important thing in marketing. Yeah, you've got to build a list and you've got to have, connections and relationships. But when it comes to your product, when it comes to your book, nothing is more important than the title. And when it comes to web pages and blog posts, nothing is more important than your title or your subject line. When it comes to email, your subject line. If people don't like your subject line, they won't open the email, and so
Yeah.
you're lost. So there's just all kinds of stuff there. So I touch on that in my zero cost course, but that could be a whole separate course in and of itself.
Awesome.
The main thing for authors, and the main thing in general that I think, is that the less you try to sell, the more you will sell, because people want to interact with a real person. People want to have a relationship. People love stories. I think marketing is all about storytelling, and the better that you can weave storytelling in with your marketing, the better off you're going to be. Which reminds me, and I shared this with you earlier, there's a book, everybody should get it. It's called 20 Master Plots. And 20 Masters Plots is a book, I think you recently ordered it, Getrude.
Yes, I did.
It's a book that I think it's out of print, but you can still get it online. And here's what it is this guy boiled down the plot of plays and movies and books from like Shakespeare's time all the way up through modern movies. And he boiled it down basically into 20 master plots that are used in all of these plays and books and movies and stories and things. He boiled it down so that you can look in this book and you can see what type of plots have worked throughout time. And now that doesn't mean that you're going to change what you're writing, but by understanding what motivates people to read books and what motivates people to go to movies, by understanding how to structure a plot, you can improve upon your story and your storytelling because these are the plots that work. There's the quest plot, the adventure plot, the pursuit plot, the rescue plot, the escape plot, the revenge plot, the riddle plot. And by the way, when I did The Secret, I used the riddle plot as part of my campaign approach. Now, this book is not a marketing book. It's a book for authors. But when I read it, I'm not an author, so I read it through marketer's eyes. And I said, hey, this would be cool. I could do a campaign that's kind of like a plot, And what I'll do is just like they do when you see a trailer on television for a movie. They kind of show you the first part and a little bit of what happens in the middle, but they don't tell you the end. They don't tell you the end because you got to go to the theater or buy the movie in order to see the end. And if you think about it, what's the most viral thing out there in the marketplace these days? It's books and movies. Because people, they'll go to a movie, and what do? They come in and they go, hey, Getrude, I saw the greatest movie the other day. You should have seen it. This guy starts out and he does this, and then all of a sudden that. I'm not going to tell you the end, though. You just got to see it. People do that almost automatically. In other words, they're basically telling you the first part, the second part, but they're holding back the end. And so that was the type of plot structure that I used. They call it the riddle here in this book for The Secret. Mm-hmm. You literally had to give us your email. Go ahead.
Dan, what I found online after you told me when I bought the book, I was just searching for free PDF downloads of this 20 master plots. Mm-hmm. And I actually have just posted on our Facebook group wall the free 20 master plots.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I found it online, so everybody's got access to it now.
Oh, good.
And
good,
the reason why I'm sharing it is for the video trailers. A lot of you are working on the trailer for your books. This is a great way of thinking through what should be in my trailer. What are the highlights in my book? So it's available. I've just posted that and shared that online.
Oh, wow. Wow. I want that too.
Okay, I'll send it to you.
The book is out of print now. I think you can still buy it, but it's just from like what's left over. So I don't know what happened to the author, but it's been around for a long time. But yes, it's a good read, and it's not a book where you have to read it from the beginning to the end. You can just kind of pick and choose what you're interested in and go from there. So that's a good one.
Fantastic. Awesome. So do we have any more questions, Dan? Because I think we need to wind down.
Yeah, we do. Let me look real quick here and see if we have any more. Okay, 1 second. Okay. We want to see your little dog. Hey, listen, if I could get my darn camera to work, I'd hold him up. He's the cutest thing I've ever seen. He's a little white terrier mix. And I'm a big animal lover. He came from the pound, and I support a lot of wildlife and animal causes. Okay. I don't. Okay, here's a great question. Okay, I don't sign up for emails anymore because I like to see and find out about things on Facebook. I think many people feel like this, so why have an opt-in box? Okay, just because you do something a particular way doesn't mean that the rest of the world feels that way. There is certainly a segment of people that feel like what you're saying and probably never put their email in any opt-in box. But you can't promote yourself if you just assume the whole world's like that. I think it's absolutely incredible. Now here's the thing, is that if you just always do things on Facebook, you've got to be aware that there's going to be a day where Facebook goes away. And I know it doesn't seem possible, but it's going to go away or whatever. You're not building a business at Facebook. You're not creating a list. Those followers you have could all of a sudden disappear tomorrow. You know, there have been so many occasions of people that have had their Twitter accounts turned off and this, that, and everything else. So it's like you use Facebook and social media as a tool, but you don't build your business on it. When you have an opt-in box and you get a person's email address, there is a different relationship there. And also, you're building a business because you're going to have that person's email address, and if you build the relationship, you know, for the long haul, it's going to be something that's solid. So don't, I understand your question because I feel a little bit like you do as well, and I'm very careful about sharing my email with people. But there are some things that I'm just so darn interested in that I do. I give them my email address, and you know what? If they give me good quality information by email, and they're a good netizen, I guess is what you would say, I think it's great. So don't discount opt-in emails, and don't think that you can build your business just on Facebook. You've got to build a list. It's absolutely critical if you want to be able to do well over the long haul.
Can I share what I've done in terms of giving out my email, Dan?
Sure.
I have actually created an email for information.
Yeah.
I have one email that is not my personal email, that's not my business email, but if I see something online that kind of inspires me, or I'm curious, or they say we're giving away a free course and I just want to get hold of that content, I have one email address that I use just for information gathering. So that could be another way of doing it, and you keep it strictly for that. If they then try and promote other stuff to you, you can just filter and get what you want out of actually sharing with them your email address.
Yeah, that's correct. Now the other thing is that very person that made that statement is watching us on this webinar, which means that you put your email in a box somewhere along the way. So, where do we go with that?
Yeah.
Oh, gosh, that's funny. Okay, I don't see any more questions.
Awesome.
I do want to...
It's a pity we can't get you back on video so we can see the dog.
Gosh, I'm sitting here and I'm trying to think, how in the world... I've been clicking buttons like crazy, trying to figure out how to pop this thing back. And
started, didn't we? That's technology for you.
I don't exactly know why it just popped off, and then after that, I couldn't get anything. So I'm going to try a little I better not do that. I was going to try a daring experiment here. Well, maybe I could. Maybe I could. No, I didn't do it either. So, well, anyway, what can I say?
Well, Dan,
I'm here.
it's been an absolute pleasure having you online today, sharing your insights, your ideas. It's an honor to be able to work with you, going forward. Everybody knows that I'm actually working on my screenplay. And just to let all of you know, Dan has agreed to come on board with the marketing and promotion side of my movie. So we are going to repeat what was done for The Secret and do it better. So watch this spot. Some magic is definitely unraveling as we speak. And I am just eternally grateful to have found you, Dan. Thank you so much for sharing with us today.
Hey, it's been my pleasure. And for everyone that's online, if you missed a little bit of this or if you want to look at it again, come back to this same web address, the same web address you came to see the live presentation, and Google will have the replay up probably within the next 5 or 10 minutes. And then share this. Share it with other people that are authors if you would like, and let's spread the good news. It's been my pleasure, and if any of you are interested in my training program, it's out there, and I'd love to have you be a part of it. But if not, I've given you enough to run with for the next 6 months. Just go out there and try some of the things I've shared, and then if you have some success, let Getrude and me know. We'd love to hear about your stories of success.
And Dan, you also forgot to mention the free gift that you've given for this webinar, the 18 zero-cost tools.
That's right. Down at the very bottom of the screen that you're looking at right now, there's a link. And that'll take you over to the membership area. Many of you probably already know about this because as soon as you signed up, you were given access to something that we call the Everything Genius Network. And inside that little area, that little member area there, inside Everything Genius, is a link to 18 zero-cost marketing tools. And guess what? I put these marketing tools on Pinterest, because that is a wonderful way to deliver things. So here's what you have to do when you're kind of working with me is don't just look at the thing like that I give you, look at the method in which I did it and say, I see what Dan did. I could have taken those tools and given them to you on a PDF, but I didn't. I gave them to you on Pinterest because by giving it to you on Pinterest, you'll go over there and maybe you'll share it with other people and spread the word. So I make it viral. So just a heads up that I'm always doing little fun things that have to do with marketing, and I enjoy doing it. So that's that. If you can't find it, just
Fantastic.
so I'm sorry. If you can't find it, just look back in your email. There was an email that came to you from everythinggenius.com, and in that email is a link that'll take you into the member area, and you can get the free 18 tools.
Awesome. Dan, thank you so much. And everybody, thank you for coming online. Thank you for staying alert, being hungry for new information. Just remember that although you're still writing your books, the next piece or the piece you should be working on concurrently is how are you going to sell this book. I really want us collectively to each sell 300 copies of our books. So imagine 100 authors each selling 300 to 400 copies of their books. As a collective, we could generate $1 million and create an amazing story around what we've done, around the knowledge that we've been sharing. So just keep on going. Don't stop. Stay tuned. More amazing information is going to unravel as we go. So thank you so much. I will see you all tomorrow. Have a fantastic day from here in New Zealand. Good night wherever you are in the world, or good morning. Thank you. Bye.